Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special guest here for the show today. You go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're coming from. And by the way, we're having technical difficulties.
Okay, so my name is Myrna Lou. I live in Venice, Florida. I've been doing palm reading for 74 years since I was age 10. I'm still working. This month I have 3 big fairs I'm in. I give lectures, I teach, I wrote 4 books. I used to have a TV show in California. It was on cable in Colorado. Um, I've read 59,500 people that I've documented. I started with my sister when she was 6 and I was 10, and she was number 1. So to this day, she won't let me see her hands. She thinks I have to look at it. But I memorize every hand I ever look at, so I know what's on there. I've helped a lot of people over the years, the police departments. I've helped people that are hiring people. They want me to find out if the person is truthful or not, and I can tell by looking right at their hand. So we have a lot of lines that we're born with, and then you have experiences, and then the lines change, meander, stop, start. But what happens is every experience you have that impacts your brain shows up on your hand. So an engagement or a divorce or moving or graduation from high school or college all show up there. Those are major events.
I have a question for you. Can you read my palm?
Put it up. Let me look.
Okay.
Are you right or left-handed?
I'm right.
I thought so. Okay, so your lifeline says you come from very strong people who never give up. They fight no matter what, and they go, I will do this if it kills me, and they just work at it, and so do you. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Right on.
Okay, put it back up. It says that your IQ is really high, and that you don't have any major things wrong with you right now. So in other words, your health is good. It says you're supposed to go to at least 90, and so I don't know how old you are now, so I have to know your age, if you don't mind saying, so I can tell you where I'm looking.
39.
Okay, so you're really 40, because we're all 9 months old when we pop out, so you're older than you think you are. Okay, then there's an X right on your lifeline. Now the lifeline is underneath your fingers, about an inch down from your fingers straight across. There's an X there, and the X stands for guardian angel. And you have one that's watching over you, guarding you, guiding you, and that this is an angel, somebody who felt something special for you when you were a young child or whenever this happened, and they were buried or cremated, and they never ascended. They didn't go to heaven. They're hanging out with you. So you're protected, guarded, guided, and they whisper in your ear and tell you what to do or not do. So how about that?
Yeah, my mother, she had colon cancer and she passed away. She was in her 4th stage when I was 15. And sometimes I get a sense that somebody is listening to me or talking to me like spiritually.
You
So
don't think you hear her? You
I
think?
don't hear her, but I have dreams and I feel her.
Right, that's what it is. You feel the person, you know they're right behind you or next to you or over here somewhere. That's it. That's a guardian angel. So I only did one line on you. There's 5 basic lines. Then there's a whole bunch of symbols. So put it back up. I'll look some more.
Okay.
Okay, so the love line says, are you not married?
I'm not married no more.
That's what it shows. And it says you're supposed to have a mate a little later in life, not at 39 or 40, maybe at 42. And that it would be somebody a dynamo because you are. So it has to be somebody as full of stuff as you are, who's as busy as you are, who has a lot of interest in things that are on their table. You know, in other words, it can't be like a dull business person who just knows business and that's all. So what it says is you go to him and he comes to you. And if there's 2 lines that are connecting, and they're parallel lines, which says you're only going to do it once and it will be for the rest of your life.
I hope so.
Okay?
Yeah, that's what I want.
I know that's what, I could see it, yeah. But you've been holding out for the prince all this time because you have a criteria list. Right?
Now
You know what you want.
yes.
Right? And you're not going to settle. You haven't yet, so why should you? So it says it's coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
How have you helped out the police, by the way?
Well, I just have to tell you one thing. I did a show where they had three women hosts, and I read each one of them, and I'd spend about an hour and a half on each one doing a write-up first, and all three of them were crying by the end of the show. So I get it 90 to 95% right.
I believe you.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And you have been doing this for how many years again?
Since I was 10, and I'm 84, so 74 years of reading. I wasn't very good at 10. I was pretty good by 16. I was really good by 20, and I can't get any better. I'm at the top of as far as I'm going to go. So I have symbols on my hand that show I can do this. It's called the psychic eye. So the most you can have is 5 of them, and I have 4. So, did you ever hear of Jeannie Dixon? She told Kennedy, don't go to Texas. You might be too young, you don't know her. Anyway, she was right because he got killed, and she told him he would get killed if he went there. Then there's Edgar Casey is the sleeping prophet, and he has 5. So I'm one under them, so I'm pretty high up as far as the vibrating, and we all have a frequency that we vibrate to, and mine is a 4. So people my age sit on the couch and do nothing, and I'm looking for more stuff to do all the time, just like you do.
Yeah, what television shows and other magazines or news anchor people have you seen and been around?
Well, I think I'm 30 in my head, so I can relate with
Good.
you because we're on the same wavelength that way. It's just that's why I think it keeps you young if you keep your mind active, you know. And so I just did fair last weekend, and I did 34 people, and every one of them walked away smiling and happy, and only one person cried. So that was good. And she cried because I told her angel was somebody from high school, and it was.
Kind of scary, you're a guardian angel yourself, you're helping a lot of people.
Well, some people have more than normal is 1 or 2. I only have 1 also. But some people have 4 or 5, and that means they lost a lot of people in their lifetime. You're not very old to have lost a whole lot. See, mine is my mother too.
Sorry to hear that.
So sometimes I want to sleep in the morning till at least 8 o'clock or 9, and my mother will yell at me, get up, it's time to you don't need to sleep in. I can hear her down the hall. So I do hear.
And do you have like a basic education or you just read?
No, it's all self-taught from that library book. But I looked for the book for 45 years. I couldn't find it because I didn't know the title or the author. So one day in Boulder, Colorado, I was reading a man at a fair, and he said, I have a book at home that sounds just like you. So I described the book, and he gave it to me. It was the book I learned on. And I learned in Ohio, where my mother was the nurse. He got it in Maine at an antique store. We were sitting in Colorado when he gave it to me. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Same book.
Children?
What?
Do you have any children?
Do I have any sisters?
No, children.
I can't hear you.
Children.
I have 4 books that I wrote.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant children. Do you have any kids?
Well, you're going in and out, and I can't hear you. You're losing every other word.
Do you have any kids?
I want to hear, do you have, and then it goes,
It's okay. Like, tell me about like a person that wanted you to do their prom. How much does it cost?
Well, a lot of people come to me because they have a problem. And as soon as they sit down, I touch them. If I touch them, I know the problem. So I must be a little psychic. If they sit down and I notice that they're very unhappy in their relationship and they've been married 23 years, I say, why are you staying if you're not happy? And they say, I needed somebody outside of my family and friends to tell me that. Then they go home and think about it. And they might get a divorce or they might go for counseling, but I push them out the door a little bit. So then there's people that are in a quandary and they don't know which job to take. They got 2 offers on the same day. And so I help them make a decision.
So,
And you want to know if I have any children?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's what you said? Okay. I had one son, and he died 2 years ago with pancreatic cancer. So I only had one. So now I have no children. My husband has two boys, and they don't talk to us. So we have zero children.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
How do you what is your day basically like?
What's my daily bay like? The phone rings off the hook. I have people that want to make appointments. Somebody just told me today they're coming in their travel trailer. Would I read them in their travel trailer after we go to lunch? I'm going to lunch with his wife, who I just met at one of the fairs I did, and he wanted a reading. So he said, we'll put on the air conditioning, we'll open all the windows and have light in there, so it's bright, and you can read me in my travel trailer. So I said, fine, I'm doing that. So that's pretty unusual. I've never done that. But I've read people in the back of a limousine. 6 people were riding a limousine, and they were having a party, and they wanted me to be the entertainment. So I sat in a limo and read 6 people. So I've done some pretty unusual things. I read people you've heard of, like Gerald Ford, who used to be our president, and a whole lot of movie stars, and I could name them off. So I read Kevin Bacon, Sly
Oh,
Stallone, Clint Eastwood, John Travolta, Jackie Gleason, Irma Bombeck, who was an author, Phil Donahue, Ivana Trump, a lot of people that you would have
Ivana
heard.
Trump, Trump's
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah.
Oh my
So I told her she was getting a divorce, and she said, oh no, me and the Donald are just like that. And she held up 2 fingers, and of course we know they got a divorce.
God.
But that was,
Man.
yeah, so I did pretty much right. Well, Gerald Ford sat down and said, I don't know what I'm doing in your line. I don't even like this stuff. And then he had 4 Secret Service around him, and I told him to send them away. And he said, oh, they're not allowed to be away from me. I said, send them across the room. So he did, and they stood and watched everything I did. And he said, if you don't tell me something that only I know, I'm going to call you a big faker. So I told him something, and he jumped up and yelled, I'm a believer.
That was Donald Trump Jr.
That was in 1996, and he gave me a $10 tip. And back then, that was a lot of money for, you know, I couldn't
What did
believe
you
it.
tell him?
So I got him, yeah. And he goes, Betty Ford doesn't even know that.
Yeah. Tell me about Kevin Bacon.
He's probably the nicest one of all those people that I read. He was really cute. He looked like a little kid, but he was already probably 39 or 40 at that time. And this was at a big keynote speaker thing in Colorado, and he had come. And so they were all there at the same event, most of them. So his head wasn't as big as some of the rest of them who have great big egos. And the worst
Yeah.
one was Sly Stallone. He thought he was God. And I'm 5'4", and I looked him right in the eye, same height as me. So he isn't as big as he appears, because he wears boots with a high heel. Then I did Phil Donahue when I was 16 and he was 17 in high school. And he went to an all-boys Catholic school, and our school beat them in a football game, and he showed up with 4 of his friends to a victory dance, which they shouldn't have come to because they could have been creamed. But anyway, he said, I'm here because your reputation precedes you. And I said, what does that mean? He said, we all want palm readings. So I took him in the cafeteria away from the dance, and I read all of the boyfriends first, then I read his. And I told him he'd be the first TV talk show host, and he was. How you like that?
I love it. I love it. Oh my God, you are an awesome guest.
Well, I have a
Seriously.
lot of different experiences over my lifetime. I did Jackie Gleason in Florida in the 70s, and I was in a restaurant, and I kept looking around and staring at him, and he said, Missy, get over here. So I came over to his table, and he said, what you looking at? And I said, you look just like Jackie Gleason. And he said, I am. So I read his hand.
What did you say?
So isn't that funny? That's pretty funny when you think about it. So, and
Yeah.
then Clint Eastwood I met in California walking down the middle of the street in the town where he was the mayor. And he said, if you read my, I told him I did that. And he said, if you read my poem, I'll comp you and your husband dinner in my restaurant that I own. So I read him right on the sidewalk, and there was a big crowd all around us watching and listening. And when I got done, he took me to his restaurant, and he comped us a great big meal. 2 dinners. So I thought that was pretty cute, So I have a lot of different experiences like that. Then I get the Looney Tune ones who say, give me a fast reading because my spaceship is circling the building and they want to take me to my new planet. I hate that. I have to read them anyway, but I don't like those. I've had 2 murderers, 2 kidnappers, an embezzler, a blackmailer. I've seen it all. That's really funny. And I helped. Do you remember the John Benet Ramsey case?
Yes,
The little
I
girl.
see you. I knew you looked familiar. You were on a talk show.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I was helping the DA, not the police, and so they wanted me to testify, but it never came to that, which is a good thing because I didn't want to. I wanted to be in a separate room and just send it in by voice, and they wouldn't let me. But it got acquitted or whatever they did, and it never happened. They didn't have the trial. But I was helping because I came up with a lot of stuff nobody else did.
What did you learn about the John Benet Ramsey?
What happened is I told them who I thought did it, and I know who did it. And they said, well, prove it. So I told them what I did was I drove over to the house because I lived about 2 miles from there. I sat in my car in February. It was really cold for an hour with no heater on or anything. It was snow on the ground, terrible. And I sat there and went through the whole house in my mind. And I said, I see something with ropes and pulleys that you take food from the kitchen upstairs. And they said, oh yeah, that's a dumbwaiter. And I said, I never knew what a dumbwaiter was. And they said, that was a thing that I had seen that I didn't understand. Then they had 2 refrigerators in the kitchen that were stainless steel, ceiling to floor. I've never seen that before either. And I described it. Then I saw a secret room. And I told them in the dining room, it was either dining room or living room, there was a fireplace, and if you touched something, it would turn around and go, like it was on a Lazy Susan. And when they opened it up, they found a room in there. And I told them what they would find in the room. And in the room was just one thing, a desk and a chair. And they said, okay, what's in the desk? And I said, porn in every drawer. And it was. And the police were astounded when I did that. I actually did one of the police officers who was there that Christmas morning. She came to my house 2 months before for a reading. She walked in and I said, you're a police officer, aren't you? And she said, yeah. She didn't want me to know, but I knew I got it. So then I said, she told me she wanted to quit her job because she'd been there 5 years and the boss she had made all the women work all the bad details, like nights and holidays and weekends. So she was on Christmas duty, Christmas Day, when that whole thing happened. So she didn't quit. I told her not to. So then the National Enquirer called me, and they wanted me to interview her and leave the phone off the hook so they could listen. So I said, that's unethical. I wouldn't do that. And they said, well, then just tell her you're going to tape record her and send us the tape. I said, I wouldn't do that either. So what happened is she never came back for a second reading, but if she had, I wouldn't have done that. To me, this is a profession, and I've been doing it for so long. I do it very carefully and exactly the right. I don't do tricks on people. That would be doing a trick.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Where do you see yourself with this magical, professional, ethical job going in the future?
Well, I sent all my stuff to Oprah's network, and I think I have a contract from there. So I think that's where I see me in the future, maybe doing a show. I need a facelift first, but then I would do it.
You look fun!
Well, I don't look my age, but I still think I could look better,
Well, I just wanted to tell you, how can the people reach you if they want a palm reading?
So anyway, I hope you got enough information on me now, right? So I would like to get my website out.
Okay.
So it's www.myrnalou.com, and it's spelled M-Y, like my, R-N-A-L-O-U, it's all one word, .com. And my email, if anybody wanted to write to me from this, is Palmist, P-A-L-M-I-S-T, @myrnalou.com.
Is this it right here?
What?
At the bottom?
I can't hear you again.
Do you see it at the bottom?
I see my name going across the bottom. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's very nice. Yeah. So
Okay.
I do probably 5 to 7 readings every week in my house, and some of them are on the internet. I'm the only palmist in the world that does that. So I just read you live a little bit too. Nobody else does that either. So I made this in a cottage thing into a cookie monster because I could do 70 hours a week if I wanted to,
Yes. I
but I
wanted to
don't
give
want
you
to.
a round of
I
applause for
think
helping.
45 is enough. Yeah.
I wanted to give you a round of applause for helping John Benet Ramsey's soul. I wanted to give you a round of applause for palm reading the Trumps and John Travolta and Kevin Bacon. Visit her. Her website is www.myrnalou.com. Find her because she is such an easygoing person. Do you have any other words of advice,
Well,
Miss
what I'd like
Lou?
to tell people is whatever your hand says is what God dealt you, and you have to live through it. You just have to do whatever is on there because it's your predetermined, it's your destiny. So we have two hands. The left hand is if you're right-handed, the left hand is your wish hand, utopia. I don't even look at that one because we all wish the same thing. We want to be healthy, wealthy, wise, go on vacations, never worry about money, not have to work, just have a good life all the time. The other hand is what really happens. So you can change it, but nobody can change you. You can only change yourself. So if you don't like something, you can make subtle little changes or big major changes, but it's up to the person to follow through. Okay?
Okay. Well said. I wanted to show you a website real quick. Give me a second. Give me just a second.
Very nice. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, oh,
There it is right there.
and that's my other picture. Yeah. Yep, that's my website.
Wow. Amazing.
So actually, that picture that's there was on a cruise in December, and my husband just
Oh,
threw it up there.
okay. So, with that being said, I want to thank you, Myrna Lou. You deserve a round of applause for almost a century worth of
Okay, but
honoring.
thank you for working it through with me too. That was very fine.
You're
It was
such a
very nice.
sweetheart.
And you're adorable. I could see what you look like. You're pretty cute.
Thank you. Take care. Stay on the line, Miss Lou. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Okay.